Hello, everyone. This is Chris Cortez. I was the writer, director, and one of the actors of Band-Aid. And welcome to this retrospective audio commentary. I'm recording this at a very weird point. I'm like 1 foot in 2014, 1 foot in 2015. I'm actually recording this on the day before New Year's Eve. So that's pretty funny. But welcome to the retrospective commentary. It's been, it's been almost 8 years, close to 10 years since we've made this movie. And that's me with really messed up hair. That's not even me trying to, that's how my hair looked back then. So a lot of the stuff I mentioned in the old commentary, which, by the way, I was such a stick in the mud in that commentary, really disappointed with my attitude. But for Band-Aid, it was the first movie I was making, or short film rather, where we really were going away from the kind of humor that it still had the essence of the humor that I was into, but it was also something that I figured I could show people and they would get it. It was my first attempt at doing kind of like universal humor, and it was also the first of a new project I wanted to do, which was to try to make at least 4 short films a year. Because at the time, making a movie was getting harder and harder because the guys were, we were in college. It was really hard to, do stuff together. So this was a year after I released Schwarzenegger vs. Stallone 2 in 2007, and I was already 2 years into college, and we were all doing our own thing. So basically, during I just wrote things that I wanted to create, things that I thought would be funny for people to enjoy, that we could create at a fast rate, at something that... And by the way, I'm talking over this great part with Hota that you hear me doing voiceovers with. And the product, this was the first movie we did. And actually, gotta say, when I wrote the script, our friend Jared Hoffman was still in the band, and he was going to play Corey. I just wanted to direct. I didn't want to act. So the last minute I came in and played Corey, and here we have everyone else playing their respective characters. So we did shoot this in full screen, because back then movies were done, or not movies, but television was in full screen. Widescreen was pretty rare at the time, and it's just how you would do stuff. And YouTube, I mean, that wasn't even an idea back then. I mean, YouTube was around, but it wasn't how it was now with the options. But yeah, this was my attempt at reality TV, making fun of it with a group of band members, each from different bands. Not sure I accomplished that correctly, but I was just very happy to be doing something different than Schwarzenegger versus Stallone. But there's actually a shot coming up that I have to mention that we fixed. By the way, in the commentary, I mentioned that I thought Brian's acting was poor in this movie. I very strongly take that back. Brian, I thought, was one of the solid actors in this movie. I thought he did a really great job getting material that was very almost benign and didn't really have too much there, and he kind of got that and made it into something more appreciative than what was originally intended. John actually surprised me too. I mentioned that he came in with all his lines translated because I asked him to do that. He came in with this costume, with the glasses. Like, I pretty much didn't give him anything, and he did it all, and I was very impressed with that. So this shot coming up we fixed for the DVD release. Originally, it transitioned to widescreen because we had an aspect ratio problem. We shot one of the scenes in widescreen accidentally. So here we went back and we added black bars to kind of fix the continuity mistake, and I'm really happy about that. That bothered me so much when I'd show this movie to people. This was Brian's idea. He thought it'd be funny to be shirtless and to wake up with Austin Powers style glasses. So really, yeah, I experimented with a couple of things. I remember a lot of the things I would tell people was The Office was it was around at the time, and it was very popular. I don't know what year you guys were. I don't even know who's listening to this commentary, but whoever is, I don't know if The Office is long since forgotten, but it was a TV show that was shot similar to this, but way better. And so I would tell people to do stuff like that, to zoom in and tried to make it as much of The Office as I could. Also, I have to tip my hat to Holte. We shot this in a band practice session. Um, when I think it was after Jared left, and we had Keon, I think, was a member of the band at the time. And if I recall correctly, we shot the entire thing in one day. I just told him, "Can we have one day, just one day?" And with the exception of that one pickup shot of me holding the guitar, everything was shot in one day, and we decorated Hota's. He put that Godsmack poster there, and we decorated his living room. Dolled it up as best we could to make it look like somewhere where a bunch of band people, and really it's just that Godsmack poster. There's really not a whole lot going on here. Those chips, by the way, that John John steals later. Love this acting bit by Brian and John John. So great. But the chips that John John steals that we see later, they're actually very old chips that had long since been forgotten by Hota and were by no means not edible. And if he knows, Brian right there said the line, there are a few things I hate. I think number 2 is scuba diving midgets, and or I should rather say scuba diving little people. But that was a reference to a conversation we had had just before we shot that scene, and I promised him that the DVD cover, whenever we released it, which we never did, would have a scuba diving little person getting a Chaos Emerald. That was where the joke came into. I'm pretty sure he ad-libbed that. And so, yeah, that was... I hope I got my job done right, and I hope I have it on there if everything's correct. Also, all the sound effects you heard doesn't make sense. Brian's holding a PS2 controller, and yeah, he's playing Mario Brothers, so I fell into that facade of not really making sense with my gaming choices for whatever system they're being played on. I will tell a story, but first I had to bring about Brian's crying scene. This was all Brian's idea. Originally I said, just, act very emotional, but he thought it'd be hilarious to get the eye drops and to put them on in front of him. This was his best scene in the whole movie. This is, again, I don't know why in that previous commentary I mentioned how I hated his acting. I thought his acting was great here. Everyone's acting was great except for yours truly. I stunk up the joint quite hardcore. In my defense, it was a last-minute thing. I did not know I was gonna. Jared was gonna play that character up until February when we shot this, and Jared left I think in January or December, and we threw a party, and everything had been written already at that point. So last minute, I went in and played this guy. This whole idea of the short was inspired by, I forgot the name of it, but there's this guy, I think he was from Milwaukee or I think it was South or North Dakota, I cannot remember, but this filmmaker who still makes movies to this day, his name is Joe Wilka, and he had, I don't know if he himself had done it or if a friend of his had done it and his production company had hosted it, but they made a short film about these guys that lived together. I think it was that they were like all these young men living together in a place, and I don't remember the name of it for the life of me, but I watched it and I thought it was such a fun movie, such a cool idea to have all these people together in a house just acting a fool. And that's where the basis of Band-Aid came from, just having these people that should not be together and interact with each other. Not one person in this house should be together in any of this. And then, I also added in the whole, and that's another homage to The Office. Sometimes they make themselves aware of the camera. And I wish I would have done more of that, but, it is what it is. This was 2007, Chris. I believe I was 20 years old at the time. Yeah. So 20-year-old Chris made this. This is 27-year-old Chris giving commentary, so soon to be 28. But yeah, that was something. There's Keon. I think you saw Laura for a split second up there. Laura and Lisa, I remember, were there. Laura is old friend of mine. Old ex-friend, I guess you could say, and ex-girlfriend of Brian's as well. And Lisa is her sister, who's also a friend of mine. And they were there. Actually, Lisa, if I recall correctly, put the eyeliner. There's all this butt crack. Put the eyeliner on my eyes for Corey, who, oh God, I did not enjoy wearing eyeliner at all. I tip my hat to the ladies who do it. So here we're coming to the end. Why is the plumber jump so high? I thought that line was so delightful to hear in Spanish. That's why I wrote it knowing that it was going to be said in Spanish. The Juggernaut Bitch, that was very popular at the time. Actually, one of the Robot Head shorts that we almost made, that we didn't make, was inspired by Robot Head. It was going to be me and Brian dubbing something, a cartoon in that style, and we ended up not doing that, sadly. Um, and here, I wish I had established it, but here Conan kills Enrique, and that knocks him out. Also, I did not give enough credit. The people who operated the camera, I believe it was me, Brian and Holta, and a few other people. They great job in it. And also, I remember we made the song Band-Aid. I believe it was Brian who pretty much came. I had an idea of what I wanted. I think it was me who said I only want one line Band-Aid to be said. And Brian mixed it, and I believe he did guitar as well. Hota was the bassist and did the screaming and when others Hota's butt crack again. And Conan, this is not his last appearance. He's only survivor, and he appears in the other short, Breakdown of Conan. That was an incomplete film, actually. But the song they did was great. I remember after we did this, I told them, you know what, and if we ever make more movies and we need a soundtrack, you guys are the LNC is gonna get back together to do it, because this was an LNC, yeah, recorded at Late Night Recording Studios, which we promoted, and sadly, that's long since gone. It was a little studio we had invented to try to make money. But alright guys, I have been Chris Cortez. Thank you guys so much for whoever, I don't know who, it's probably just me, but whoever is listening to this, thank you for tuning into this retrospective commentary. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the content on the disc, and special thanks to Papucho. That is a long story for another time. Take care guys, thanks for watching.